My name is Gillian McNeill, Specialist Speech and Language Therapist at Call Scotland. I'd like to give you an introduction and overview of the AAC Education online learning modules, which were commissioned free for anyone to access from our website. These modules were commissioned by NHS Education Scotland as part of the Scottish Right to Speak initiative, in addition to an earlier introductory set of modules, an introduction to AAC. They were written by Sally Miller, past Joint Coordinator and Specialist Speech and Language Therapist at Call Scotland, and they're based on the evidence and experience she collected from over 30 years working in the field. The modules include contributions from a number of AAC experts, and Call Scotland are grateful in particular to two Scottish AAC services for their input. To KeyCom, the Lothian Communication Technology Service, for their input on the Codes Framework and their Transitions project, and to FACT, Fife's AAC team, for their input on their Symbolising Schools project. So who might use the modules? Our first series, An Introduction to AAC, is accessible to people without any previous knowledge of communication disability or communication aids. Whereas the second and larger series, AAC in Education, is written for staff and students more specifically working in education and addresses many aspects of how to introduce and support the use of AAC in educational settings. So what's in the modules? The content focuses on positive outcomes for pupils through developing staff knowledge and skills in AAC. They are evidence-based, highlight best practice and provide a large collection of resources. The modules are presented with an online multimedia format, so you will need an internet connection. There are 7 modules in total, which can be viewed on your PC or tablet. Each one starts with a description of the learning outcomes and ends with a quiz to test your knowledge and a completion certificate to print. Although it's recommended that everyone starts by viewing the first module, Setting the Scene, the subsequent modules can be viewed individually or in sequence. It's possible to skim through the modules in a relatively short time. However, the total learning time depends on the number of modules completed and how much detail is viewed. We estimate this could take up to 40 hours to complete. So where can you find them? The modules are hosted on our AAC Scotland website. I hope you enjoy using them and find the content valuable and you find it benefits your practice. Let me show you where to find them. So here we are on the AAC Scotland website. The web link is aacscotland.org.uk, which will take you there directly. There's also a link from the front page of the Call Scotland website if you choose to take that route. So click on the AAC module tab on the left side of the tab bar to show both sets of modules. At the top, you'll see the first series, An Introduction to AAC. Scrolling down a bit, you'll see the second series, AAC in Education, and links to each of the 7 modules within it. We recommend that you view and complete Module 1 first, but thereafter the others can be viewed individually depending on your learning needs and what you want to learn about, or you can complete them all in any order. So let's have a look at the first module within this, Setting the Scene, and examples of some slides showing images, videos, links to external web pages and downloadable resources. At the start, there's some guidance on using the modules before setting out the learning objectives. So the purpose of this module is to introduce and describe communication support needs and reasons why language and communication are central to learning and life skills in general. You're prompted to reflect on the value you place on AAC as a tool for learners, how you might approach AAC support in your role, and how ready your school is for implementing its use. You'll see that navigation through a module is easy with bottom, right, next and previous buttons on PC. There's arrow keys when viewing on a tablet. To help you navigate to a specific slide, if you wish to go back and read a slide after you have been through them all, there's a menu button at the top right. By clicking on this, the slides and numbers are displayed as clickable links. Let's jump to a slide about communication support needs. Within this slide, you'll see pop-ups highlighting different aspects, such as things to be aware of, identifying and assessing needs, considering AAC early on, and links to additional web-based resources for more information on typical speech and language development. The next slide, What Can Help, provides information about communication approaches, including a definition of AAC. There's also further information about AAC if you need it. This includes some videos, a leaflet to download, and a link to the Series 1 introductory modules if you haven't already viewed these. Each module typically ends with a quiz to test your learning, sometimes true and false, like this, or other simple formats such as matching similar statements. There's a certificate to download and print on completion of each module. To return to the AAC Scotland webpage, click on Return. Module 2, Communication Friendly Schools, addresses the benefits of making schools as accessible and inclusive for all pupils, most importantly, those with different levels of communication support needs, with 6 steps to achieve this and examples of school symbol inclusion projects. Within this module, there are examples of symbol resources to download, such as this swimming kit reminder board. Here's the 6 steps mentioned with explanation of each step. Thereafter, each of the steps are covered in much more detail, explored through videos, links and resources to download. Module 3, Argumentative Communication in Practice, addresses practical strategies to support AAC and integrate AAC into daily school life, covering 6 fundamental issues, including having access to an AAC system at all times, balancing expectations, creating opportunities for communication, approaches to vocabulary selection and teaching, supporting implementation, and equipment management. Module 4, Educational Frameworks, highlights how communication is at the heart of the Scottish curriculum and how education is informed by legislation, policy and guidelines. The module addresses rationale for planning and recording targets, assessment, planning, monitoring and recording techniques and tools, including setting appropriate targets for AAC learners. Module 5, Supporting Teaching and Learning, addresses how to adapt the curriculum and teaching approaches with a focus on 4 important aspects. The first covers rationale for differentiating the curriculum. The second, resources for teaching learners with profound, severe and complex additional support needs. Then teaching language and literacy, with inclusive literacy approaches and a particularly useful literacy journey to download. And finally, ICT for education. Module 6, Working Together, addresses the need for team working and the many roles involved in supporting a learner with complex communication support needs where AAC is involved. It includes working in partnership with parents and families and strategies for involving and consulting learners. Module 7, Communication for Life, focuses on supporting transitions from school to adult life for young people who use AAC, with a transition project example, case study and resources for preparing for transitions, including personal communication passports. I hope you find this overview informative and useful, and that it provides you with the information you might need to help you get started. For reference, here's a note of the AAC Scotland webpage.